Here we are, chapter 24, page 187. For Swindle. A hulking animal exploded out of the room and pounced on the intruder. Terrified, the man swung his briefcase and cracked the German shepherd across the snout. Yelping with pain and rage, the dog fell back for an instant. By the time it gathered itself for another charge, Lamar Fontaine was hightailing it across the tiles toward the basement steps. He slammed the door behind him a split second before the shepherd plowed into it, howling with fury as it re-injured its sore nose. It was preparing for another run when it heard a bark from above. That brought the guard dog galloping upstairs. When Ben sounded the warning for all the good it was going to do, "Griffin, all of you, hide!" But there was no time for hiding or even thinking. The rest of the team was trapped in the master bedroom. The shepherd appeared in the doorway, menacing them all and cutting off any avenue of escape. The dog whisperer stepped forward. "Hi, big guy," she said in her most soothing tone. "You don't want to hurt anybody. We're all friends here. Let's not get With a malevolent roar, the monster leaped at her. Seeing Savannah in danger, Luther flung himself into the path of the attacking shepherd. The two dogs met in midair and fell snarling and wrestling to the floor. The heist team wasted no time getting out of the room and down the stairs, Griffin and Darren half carrying Pitch. Ben met them on the midway landing. "There's a dog after you, and it isn't Luther." "Quick, the kitchen," ordered Savannah. Darren was wild-eyed. "Why, are you going to whip up a souffle?" "I'm going to find some meat to distract that brute from killing poor Luther." Nobody gave her an argument. In a fight with a much larger shepherd, the Doberman was David facing Goliath. There was no question that Luther had risked his life to protect Savannah. The team hit the main floor and ran into the kitchen. Savannah ripped open the freezer and began rummaging for meat. "Any steaks?" Ben asked helpfully. Dogs love steak. "I can't find anything. This is in the way." She lifted out an enormous frozen turkey and dumped it on the tiles. And there, in the middle of all that chaos, a strange calm descended over Griffin. It tuned out his heist mates, and even the fact that there were two warring dogs. One flight up, he heard his own voice from days before. "Oh, sure, like a nasty, obnoxious crook knows enough people willing to sit down and eat a 20-pound turkey with him." And that expert on the web clip holding the card asking, "Why is it so cold?" Suddenly, he was on his knees over the frozen bird, reaching his hand into the breast cavity. Darren was disgusted. "I always knew you were crazy, Bing, but I never thought you were the type to go digging in a turkey's butt." In answer, Griffin pulled out a Ziploc baggie. There was a picture peering through the clear plastic. Babe Ruth in a Boston Red Sox uniform. Savannah pulled the shrink wrap off 2 T-bone steaks. She ran to the bottom of the staircase and flung them up to the top landing. In an instant, the two dogs had forgotten about each other and were chewing on the cold, hard meat. Griffin removed the card from the Ziploc and held it lovingly. "This is the greatest moment of my life." "Yeah, mine too." Darren snatched the prize out of his hand and ran for the front door. "Sayonara, suckers." It was so shocking, so unexpected that the team just stood there, open-mouthed, and watched him go. Then, total wild action, a stampede in hot pursuit. Even Pitch was running full tilt, hopping and limping through her pain. Griffin led the charge. All of the things he'd planned for, all of the in case ofs or what ifs, how could he possibly have overlooked the most obvious possibility, a double cross from one of his own people? Especially Darren, who had always been an enemy and an untrustworthy jerk. But what a price to pay for one mistake. Darren pounded down the front steps. Griffin followed, losing his breath momentarily to a gust of wind. Hot on his friend's heels, Ben vaulted up onto the porch rail and hurled himself like a flying squirrel at Darren's fleeing form. He missed the takedown, but his flailing arm caught Darren on the ankle. The big boy lost his balance and hit the ground like a ton of bricks. The Babe Ruth card popped out of his hand. Suddenly, the Bambino was airborne, riding a mammoth blast of wind. The team watched in agony as the $1 million collectible fluttered higher and higher, swirling on the turbulent air currents. The wind played with it for a few more seconds before depositing it in the lacy upper branches of a very tall maple tree. With a cry of frustration, Darren got up, rushed to the trunk, and began climbing like a madman. Griffin turned to Pitch. "No way," she said, reading his mind. "Not with this ankle, and I don't want any of you dummies trying it. You'll wind up dead, and probably so will he." She cupped her hands to her mouth. "Darren, you'll never make it." "What about the ladder?" Ben suggested. "Not high enough," Pitch told him. "That tree towers over the house." Griffin was nearly insane. "It's $1 million card. There must be some way to get it." "Dream on," Savannah said unhappily. "Not unless you've got some miracle tool that can reach 40 feet up, pick out the tiniest thing, and bring it back down safely." The look of shocked realization on Griffin Bing's face was nothing like anyone had ever seen before. Guess we'll have to see what happens in the next chapter.